The station hung silently against the backdrop of the dying star, its metallic hull glinting faintly under the fading light. It was old, weathered by decades of cosmic storms and near-constant repairs, yet it still stood as a hub for travelers from countless systems. Aliens of many shapes and sizes moved through its corridors, their voices low but urgent, their eyes flicking constantly toward the docking bays where new ships arrived. Among them was a rumor that had spread quietly but persistently. A human starship, unlike any vessel known in the galaxy, had appeared in the sector. The ship was said to be alive in ways machines were not meant to be, reacting to intentions, assessing trust, and moving of its own accord. The alien explorers were eager. They had traveled light years to witness this anomaly, their curiosity rivaled only by their desire for control. Their leader, a tall being named Tharun, a species with crystalline skin that shimmered in all colors of the spectrum, motioned for his team to follow. "Remember," he said, his voice crisp and echoing, "we are here to study, but we cannot fail. The humans are clever, but no one is untouchable. We will board this vessel and take what is necessary." The docking bay was vast and dimly lit, yet in the center, suspended on invisible repulsors, was the ship. Its hull was smooth and reflective, appearing almost liquid in the way it caught the light. The vessel seemed alive, its surface pulsing faintly as if breathing. No markings identified it, no visible seams indicated access points. The aliens approached slowly, scanners extended, probes activated. The sensors beeped erratically, unable to read even the basic structure of the ship. This was not a malfunction. They had seen many advanced vessels before, but something entirely new. Tharun raised a crystalline hand, and the team advanced in unison. "Prepare to board," he said. One of his subordinates, a squat and armored creature named Creel, extended a claw toward the hull. The moment his fingertips brushed the surface, the ship shuddered gently and shifted backward, enough to keep Creel's hand from remaining in contact. The sudden movement startled the team, and several aliens stumbled. "What? What is this?" Creel hissed, gripping the edge of the platform for balance. "Keep calm," Tharun replied, though his voice betrayed unease. "It reacts. The vessel reacts. Adjust your approach." They tried again. This time, all 5 of them reached out, moving slowly, in what they hoped was a synchronized effort. But the moment more than one hand neared the hull, the ship seemed to anticipate their movements. It slid sideways, just enough to prevent boarding. The aliens recoiled. Their sophisticated docking equipment failed to override it. The clamps and grapples refused to attach. Tharun's crystalline form flickered with irritation. "It's resisting. A machine cannot think this way, yet it does. Humans perhaps have hidden powers we do not understand." From the control room above, unseen, a human watched silently. Captain Elara leaned back in her chair, her eyes tracking every motion. She had known this day might come, though she had hoped for a slower introduction. Her vessel, the Horizon, was designed for more than transportation. It was intelligent, cautious, and protective. It would not allow itself to be taken by force. It responded only to those it deemed trustworthy, to those whose intentions were aligned with the preservation of life, not conquest. The aliens tried another approach. They activated energy fields to immobilize the ship, hoping to force it into compliance. The fields brushed against the hull, but the ship shimmered and moved out of the way, maintaining perfect balance without ever making a threatening gesture. A sense of frustration began to ripple through the group. No machine they had encountered had ever behaved like this. Kyle, the youngest member of the team, observed quietly. His skin was a soft violet, and his eyes were wide with curiosity. Unlike the others, he was not as driven by conquest or domination. Something about the ship fascinated him. He noticed that when the team approached aggressively, the vessel moved away, but when they hesitated, paused and extended a hand without force, it did not recoil as strongly. "Tarun," Kale said, his voice gentle but firm. "Maybe we are approaching this wrong. Perhaps it does not respond to strength. Perhaps it responds to intention." Tarun turned, his crystalline facets flashing with irritation. "Do not speak unless spoken to, Kale. This is not your concern. Aggression is universal. Weakness invites failure. You will learn this in time." But Kale could not ignore the sensation building in his chest. The ship was different. It was alive, not in the way organic beings were, but in the way it reacted. And it seemed to understand more than the aliens were willing to admit. The team tried again. This time, Kale stepped forward alone. He extended a hand slowly, deliberately, without any force or command. He closed his eyes for a moment, focusing only on curiosity and respect. The ship paused. Its surface shimmered, and for the first time, Kale felt a subtle pull, as if the vessel was inviting him closer, but just a little closer, not fully. Before anything could progress further, Creel shouted, "Step back! You will ruin this!" and grabbed Kale's arm, yanking him away. The moment was lost. Kale struggled, protesting, but the older alien's strength was far greater than his. From above, Ilara watched, silently smiling. The vessel had already begun to assess Kale's intentions, even though he had been pulled away. She had anticipated that a being uncorrupted by arrogance might be able to interact with the ship in ways others could not. It was the first step in a slow, careful test of patience. The aliens regrouped, irritation and confusion written clearly in their movements. "This vessel is no ordinary human creation," Tarun said finally, his voice low. "It is alive. It senses us. We must retreat and plan anew. We cannot force it, yet it is too valuable to leave unclaimed." Kale looked back toward the ship, his violet eyes wide with awe. "We could learn from it," he said softly, almost to himself. "We could understand if we tried differently." Tarun's eyes flicked toward him, sharp and dangerous. "You will learn what happens to the naive," he warned. But Kale's mind was already elsewhere. The ship had responded to something inside him, something he could not explain. As the aliens prepared to leave the docking bay, the ship pulsed again, almost imperceptibly. Kyle reached out one more time. Gently, and the vessel's hull shimmered brighter, acknowledging his touch without fully granting access. The moment passed quickly, and he was pulled back by Creel once more. Yet he remembered it. That brief contact had been enough to ignite a curiosity that would not fade. Ilara turned from the observation screen to the ship itself. "Patience," she whispered. "We will see who is worthy. We will see who understands." The station around them continued its quiet hum, oblivious to the small drama unfolding in its docking bay. Traders and travelers passed by, unaware of the anomaly in their midst, unaware that a vessel unlike any other was judging, assessing, and waiting. Kale watched from the edge of the docking bay as the aliens departed, frustrated and silent. A part of him wanted to stay, to linger, to learn more. But the rules of his species forbade disobedience. Still, he promised himself that he would return, that he would find a way to approach differently. For the human crew, this was only the beginning. The ship had already made its first judgment. It had recognized curiosity, patience, and respect. It had tested the others and found them lacking. And it had begun to form a bond, however small, with the one alien who had dared to approach differently. The dying star cast long shadows across the docking bay, painting the ship in hues of gold and crimson. And in the quiet, the vessel seemed to breathe, pulsing in rhythm with the potential it had sensed in Kale. Far above, unseen and silent, the stars watched as human ingenuity met alien arrogance. The first step of understanding had been taken. though neither side knew what the next step would bring. Kale lingered at the edge of the docking bay, his thoughts a whirlwind of possibilities. Perhaps humans were as strange and unpredictable as the legends claimed. Perhaps their creations, their minds, and their spirits held power beyond raw strength. And perhaps in time, he would understand it fully. But for now, the human starship remained just out of reach. A silent guardian of secrets, a living testament to the subtle strength and ingenuity that humans carried into the galaxy. And as the aliens left, frustrated, the ship pulsed again, as if acknowledging the small flicker of understanding that had passed between it and the curious alien who had dared to approach differently. Kale's mind was alight with questions. He did not yet know that his choice, his patience, and his curiosity would set in motion a series of events that could change not only his life, but the destiny of countless beings across the stars. The human starship waited, alive and patient for the next approach, ready to judge, to teach, and to protect. And the galaxy, vast and indifferent, had no idea that one small act of respect had already begun to ripple outward, shaping the future in ways no one could predict. Kale could not stop thinking about the ship. Even as the alien team retreated to their own vessel, complaining and planning strategies for future boarding attempts, his mind remained on that brief, tantalizing moment when the hull had shimmered beneath his touch. His curiosity was a fire that refused to be snuffed out. Unlike his comrades, who valued conquest and possession, Kale saw something else in the human vessel, a combination of intelligence, awareness, and subtle judgment. Back aboard the alien ship, the team gathered in a dimly lit strategy room. The walls were lined with screens displaying the docking bay and the elusive human starship. Tharun's crystalline body pulsed angrily as he watched the recordings of their failed boarding attempts. "Patience is a waste," he said sharply. "We control the galaxy through power. Machines respond to power. This human craft is no exception. We will force it eventually." Kyle sat quietly, his violet eyes fixed on the screen. "You don't understand," he said softly. "It doesn't respond to force. It reacts to intent. We tried to take it by strength, and it simply avoided us. But when I approached without aggression, it paused. It acknowledged me." The others turned toward him, expressions ranging from disbelief to annoyance. Creel snorted. "Acknowledged you? It's a machine, Kale. It cannot acknowledge anyone. You are imagining things." "I am not imagining," Kale insisted. "It is alive in a sense that we cannot comprehend. I felt it. It is not about power. It is about understanding." Tharun's eyes, sharp as polished crystal, narrowed. "You are naive, Kale. Naivety will get you killed. Do not stray from the plan. We will return with greater force. We will board this vessel. Nothing alive, human or not, can resist us forever." Kale remained silent, but inside him, determination grew. He would not abandon the possibility that this ship held knowledge and experience far beyond their own. He needed to understand it, and perhaps in doing so, he could learn something his people had long forgotten: the value of patience, respect, and cooperation. The next day, Kyle found himself lingering near the observation deck. He watched as the station's usual traffic bustled around the docking bay. Traders and travelers moved about, unaware of the extraordinary human ship floating just above the platforms. Kyle's hand rested on the railing as he thought about the brief connection he had made. A small part of him wanted to approach again, but he knew he could not act without caution. From the human starship, the hull shimmered faintly. The vessel seemed to sense his attention, subtle and deliberate, but it made no move. It waited. It had already begun its assessment of Kyle, detecting his curiosity, his patience, and his willingness to understand rather than conquer. Kyle turned to Tharun, who was walking toward him. I wish to approach it again, Kale said. Tharun's facets flashed angrily. You will do no such thing. We leave in an hour. You will follow orders, or you will remain behind. Is that understood? Kyle nodded outwardly, but his mind raced with possibilities. He did not intend to abandon the opportunity. The human ship had shown him something extraordinary, something that demanded more than brute strength to understand. When the alien team departed the station to resupply, Kale found a quiet moment alone in the docking bay. The station was nearly empty, the hum of machinery and distant conversations filling the silence. He approached the platform slowly, extending a hand as he had before, calm, steady, and intentional. The ship's surface shimmered faintly, almost like a ripple on water. It was an acknowledgement, small but unmistakable. A voice came from inside the vessel, calm and neutral, filtered through the ship's communication system. Your intentions are noted. Approach with patience. Aggression is not required. Kyle started slightly. The voice was human, calm, and filled with a quiet authority, yet he felt no threat. I do not wish to harm, he said aloud, though the sound echoed only slightly in the vast docking bay. I only wish to understand. The hull shimmered, and a small platform extended outward, hovering just within reach. It was enough for Kale to step onto it without fear, though he did not yet enter the interior. The ship seemed to measure him, weighing his curiosity and honesty against all the unknowns it had detected. Inside the ship, Captain Elara watched from the control room. She had anticipated that some being would approach differently, with respect rather than force. Kale's calm, careful touch had been enough to pique the ship's curiosity and begin the first step of contact. Elara smiled faintly. This encounter would be crucial, not only for the ship's tests, but for the potential alliance she hoped to foster. Kyle stepped closer, placing both hands gently on the ship's smooth surface. It pulsed softly beneath his palms, and a subtle warmth spread through him. He could sense a kind of intelligence within, not like his own mind, but something that evaluated, learned, and decided. You are alive, he whispered, awed. The ship responded, its surface rippling lightly. I am aware. Your species has potential. You approach with curiosity, not conquest. That is rare. Kyle felt a thrill of excitement. I want to learn from you, he said. I want to understand how you work. I want to know why humans build machines like you. There was a long pause. Then the voice spoke again. Understanding requires patience. Actions have consequences. Continue with honesty, and progress will be permitted. Kyle nodded, understanding that this was only the beginning. He looked back toward the station, imagining the reactions of his comrades if they saw him now. They would likely accuse him of foolishness or cowardice. But he felt no fear. The ship had acknowledged him. It had not rejected him, and that was extraordinary. Over the next several days, Kyle returned quietly whenever the alien team was occupied elsewhere. He learned to move in rhythm with the ship, to approach only when calm, to touch the hull lightly and with care. Each time, the vessel responded more fully, extending its observation platforms slightly further, allowing him to feel its interior vibrations, the subtle workings of its engines, and the gentle hum of its AI systems. Through these encounters, Kale began to understand something fundamental about humans. They built machines not only for utility or power, but for cooperation and understanding. The ship was a reflection of their ingenuity, their morality, and their creativity. It did not rely on force alone. It relied on intelligence, empathy, and adaptability. He returned to the alien team and observed them from a distance. Their attempts at brute force had grown more desperate and erratic. They lashed out at the docking clamps, shouted commands at the ship, and tried to override its systems with electronic attacks. Each time, The ship shifted effortlessly, maintaining distance, never retaliating violently, only defending itself. Kale realized that his people were missing something crucial. They valued strength above all else, yet the human approach relied on more subtle virtues. Patience, creativity, honesty, and respect could accomplish what aggression never could. One evening, as the dying star bathed the station in red and gold light, Kyle finally stepped fully onto a small entryway extended by the ship. He did not enter fully, but he could now see the interior. Smooth walls, advanced control panels, and a soft glow that seemed alive. It was not threatening. It was inviting. A voice spoke softly in his mind, almost as if reading his thoughts. You are different. Others approach with fear or aggression. You approach with curiosity. This is why contact is possible. Others will not be permitted. Kyle felt a strange warmth, a connection he could not describe. I will not disappoint, he whispered. I want to understand, to learn, to grow. The ship pulsed gently, a subtle acknowledgement of his promise. He knew that it would take time, long hours of careful observation and honest interaction, to gain full access. But for the first time, Kyle felt a sense of hope that had been missing from his life. He had found a bridge between his world and the human world, a path built not on force, but on understanding. Meanwhile, Captain Ilara monitored Kale's progress. She understood that the first step had been made, but the true test would come when his species attempted to impose their old ways. The ship would need to continue its judgment, testing the integrity and intentions of those who sought to interact with it. Kale's success was not guaranteed, but it was a rare opportunity, a chance to show that even in a galaxy dominated by power and fear, curiosity and patience could achieve what violence never could. Kale returned to his quarters that night, exhausted but exhilarated. He reflected on the encounters, the lessons he had learned, and the stark contrast between the human approach and the methods of his own people. He realized that understanding the ship was not only about technology, it was about values, ethics, and the essence of what made a species capable of greatness. The next morning, he prepared to approach again. The station was busier now, and he had to be careful to avoid detection. As he walked toward the docking bay, his heart raced with anticipation. The ship shimmered faintly, almost as if sensing his eagerness, its movements subtle and graceful. Kale extended his hand, moving with care and precision. The hull pulsed warmly beneath his touch, and the observation platform extended further. He could see more of the interior now, a network of controls, softly glowing interfaces, and mechanisms that seemed to function in harmony with a consciousness he could not fully comprehend. "Do you understand me?" he whispered, hoping the ship could interpret more than words. The voice responded gently, "I understand your intent. Continue with honesty and patience. This is the path to learning." Kale smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection. He had found the first steps toward a new understanding, not only of the human vessel, but of the potential for cooperation between his people and humans. It was a fragile connection, one that required care, patience, and respect, but it was real. And in that moment, Kale knew that the galaxy was about to witness something extraordinary, the beginning of a story where force and aggression were not the keys to power, but where understanding, curiosity, and respect could open doors no one else could. The human ship waited, alive and patient, a silent guide for the alien who dared to approach differently, and a reminder that greatness in the galaxy was measured not by strength, but by wisdom, ingenuity, and the courage to act with integrity. Kale had learned to move through the station almost unnoticed. His curiosity had grown stronger with every visit to the human starship. Every pulse of the hull, every faint shimmer seemed to speak directly to him, guiding him, teaching him, and revealing a world far beyond his people's understanding. He had discovered something the others could not see. Humans measured strength differently. It was not raw force that mattered. It was creativity, patience, and the ability to act with purpose and integrity. The alien team had noticed his absence more than once. Creel had begun to complain to Tharun, their leader, about Kale's distracted behavior. "He is wasting time," Creel snapped. "We could have returned to boarding the ship days ago if he had not lingered. This obsession is dangerous. If we do not seize the vessel soon, humans will leave, and it will be lost to us forever." Tharun's crystalline body pulsed with irritation. "Let him follow his foolishness," he said finally. "If curiosity alone can board a human vessel, we will see. But mark my words, it will fail. Machines do not recognize sentiment. They respond to power. Kale's patience will not protect him from what is coming." Kale, oblivious to the reprimands behind him, approached the ship once more. The docking bay was quieter now, shadows stretching across the metallic floor as the dying star cast long streaks of red and gold light through the observation windows. His hand hovered above the hull, feeling the faint pulses beneath his fingertips. He could sense the intelligence within, the subtle awareness of something far beyond his comprehension. "Your persistence is noted," the ship's voice said, calm and neutral. "Continue with honesty and care. This is essential for progress." Kale felt a thrill of excitement. He had gained trust, however small, and he could feel the ship's willingness to allow him closer. He carefully stepped onto the extended platform, feeling the gentle support beneath his feet. Unlike before, the entryway extended further now, inviting him deeper into the ship's interior, though not fully. Inside, the ship's environment was unlike any machine Kale had ever known. The walls seemed alive, gently pulsing with light and energy, responding subtly to his presence. Soft hums filled the air, vibrating in tune with the ship's internal systems. He could see control panels, smoothly integrated into the walls, glowing with colors that shifted and flowed as if alive. Every surface seemed designed to interact seamlessly with a sentient mind, to respond to thought, intention, and subtle gestures. "You understand more than most of your species," the ship said softly, almost like a whisper. "You do not seek to dominate. You seek to understand. That is rare." Kyle nodded. "I want to learn," he said. "I want to know why humans build vessels like you. I want to know how you work, how you think, and why you protect what you do." The ship pulsed gently beneath him, a subtle acknowledgement. "Understanding is earned. Observation, patience, and honesty are required. Do not rush. Do not attempt to force progress." Kyle smiled. "I understand. I will move carefully." Days passed in this quiet routine. Kale approached the vessel daily, sometimes for hours, learning its responses, observing the subtle vibrations, the way the hull seemed to sense his intentions. Each encounter deepened his understanding. He discovered that the ship did not just react to force or motion, it reacted to thought, to purpose, to the subtle ethics behind every action. The more Kale approached with honesty and curiosity, the more access the vessel allowed him. But the human ship was not the only force at work. His comrades, frustrated and impatient, had begun to observe him from afar. Creel was furious, and Tharun's irritation grew with each day Kale lingered. "He wastes time with illusions," Tharun said. "A machine is a machine. Humans are clever, yes, but they are not gods. Kale will learn the hard way." One evening, Kale returned to the platform as usual. The station was quiet, the hum of machinery muted against the vastness of space. He placed his hands gently on the hull, feeling its warmth, the faint pulse of life beneath the smooth surface. He could sense the intelligence inside, the awareness that measured him, tested him, and judged him, not with aggression, but with precision and patience. "You are ready for further observation," the ship said softly. "Step carefully, and you will see more. Enter fully only when trust is complete." Kyle's heart raced. This was the first invitation to explore beyond the surface. He stepped forward, entering the ship's interior for the first time. The air was soft and breathable, perfectly regulated. The walls seemed alive, shifting subtly to accommodate him. The control panels responded to his gestures, highlighting areas of interest, demonstrating systems without overwhelming him. He moved slowly, absorbing every detail, every vibration, every subtle hum. "You see," the ship said, "humans build machines to enhance understanding, not to dominate, not to destroy. You are beginning to comprehend this." Kale nodded, awed. "It is incredible. I have never seen anything like this." "You are learning what others of your species do not wish to learn," the ship said. "Strength is often mistaken for power. Understanding is greater than force." Meanwhile, back at the alien ship, Creel and Tharun observed Kyle through remote sensors. "He is inside the vessel," Creel said in disbelief. "How is this possible? It should have repelled him like the others." Tharun's facets flashed sharply. "Because he is not like the others," he admitted reluctantly. "His intent is different. This is dangerous. He may learn something our species does not wish to acknowledge." Kale explored further, guided by the ship's subtle cues. He discovered areas that were clearly designed for observation and learning. Screens displayed simulations of stars, planets, and complex systems. Panels allowed interaction with mathematical models, energy flows, and even the internal functions of the vessel itself. He realized that humans did not just build machines, they built tools for exploration, for growth, and for understanding the universe. As he moved through the interior, he felt a gentle resistance, not as a barrier, but as guidance. The ship seemed to suggest, redirect, and teach without overt interference. Every step he took was measured, every action considered, and every gesture rewarded with a subtle pulse of acknowledgement. "You are learning quickly," the ship said, "but be aware. Your species does not always act with honesty. Others may attempt to force progress. You must remain patient and deliberate." Kyle nodded, understanding the warning. He knew that the rest of his team would attempt to board the ship soon, and he feared what might happen if they did. They were not patient, not honest, and not careful. They sought control, not understanding. He returned to his quarters, thinking deeply. He realized that humans had created a vessel that reflected their highest ideals, not their mightiest weapons. This ship was not a tool of war. It was a vessel of comprehension, a guardian of knowledge, and a teacher to those willing to approach with care. The next day, Kale returned to the docking bay with renewed determination. He approached the ship slowly, deliberately, extending his hand in calm and measured gestures. The hull shimmered faintly, extending the platform further than before, allowing him deeper access. "You are progressing," the ship said softly. "You are demonstrating patience, integrity, and curiosity. These are the traits of understanding, not dominance." Kale stepped onto the interior platform, marveling at the harmony of the vessel. He saw systems he had never imagined. Panels that seemed to anticipate his questions, and a sense of intelligence that went far beyond anything he had encountered. "You understand more than most," the ship said. "But be cautious. Others will test your resolve. Your species may not comprehend what you are learning." Kale realized the truth of this. His own team was growing more impatient, more aggressive. They would not respect the ship's intelligence or its subtle judgments. Only those who approached with honesty, patience, and curiosity would gain access. That evening, as he lingered in the ship's interior, Kale felt a sense of purpose he had never known. He was not just observing a human vessel, he was learning a philosophy, a way of thinking, and a method of approaching the universe that his species had long ignored. He understood that strength alone was meaningless without wisdom, and that curiosity combined with patience could achieve what force never could. The stars outside the station glimmered faintly, and Cale felt a deep connection to the human ship, a silent bond of respect and understanding. He knew that the next steps would be critical. The aliens would not remain patient forever. They would attempt to impose their old ways, and he would have to navigate the tension between their aggression and the vessel's subtle intelligence. But for now, Kyle allowed himself a moment of triumph. He had taken the first steps toward true understanding, bridging the gap between his people and humans in a way that few could imagine. The ship pulsed gently beneath his hands, acknowledging his efforts, rewarding his patience, and guiding him further into its interior. Kyle realized that this was only the beginning. The human vessel was alive, patient, and wise, and it would continue to test him, teach him, and challenge him. But he was ready. He had seen the power of understanding, the value of integrity, and the importance of patience. And he knew that in time, his people might learn these lessons as well, if they were willing to listen. As the dying star cast long shadows across the docking bay, Cale looked back toward the alien team, observing their growing frustration and impatience. He understood that their approach would fail, that their reliance on aggression and brute force would be rejected by the vessel. Only he, guided by honesty and curiosity, could navigate this path safely. The human ship waited, alive and patient, teaching the alien who dared to approach differently. And Cale knew that his journey had only just begun, a journey of understanding, discovery, and a bridge between species that might one day change the galaxy itself. Cale felt the tension before he even saw it. The alien team had returned to the station, their impatience thicker than the air in the docking bay. Tharun's crystalline body shimmered with controlled anger, while Creel's movements were sharp, erratic, and filled with frustration. They had grown tired of waiting for Kyle to complete his pointless interactions with the human starship. They demanded results, control, and possession. Cale did not step back. He had learned patience, respect, and the subtleties of understanding from the vessel itself. The ship had taught him that force could not open doors that curiosity and honesty could. The platform extended gently, inviting him aboard, but he paused, sensing the tension behind him. He knew he had to act with care, for the team approaching could disrupt everything he had built. "You are wasting time," Tharun's voice boomed, echoing through the docking bay. "Step aside, Kyle. The vessel will not serve your whims." Kyle shook his head, his violet eyes steady. "I am not here to take. I am here to learn," he said calmly. "This ship does not belong to anyone. It responds only to those who approach it honestly. You will not succeed through aggression." Creel laughed, a sharp, mocking sound. "You speak as though it has a mind of its own. Machines obey. They are built to serve. Humans build vessels only to deceive and dominate." Kyle's gaze did not waver. "You misunderstand. This ship teaches. It protects. It judges the intentions of those who approach. It is not a tool for conquest." The human vessel pulsed subtly, responding to Cale's calm and deliberate approach. It extended the platform fully, creating a space where he could stand between the ship and his team. He raised a hand, a signal not of aggression but of request. The hull shimmered slightly, a silent acknowledgement. The ship seemed to understand the delicate balance in that moment. It could allow Cale to continue without permitting the others to interfere. Tharun's eyes narrowed. "You will regret this, Cale. You place yourself above your species." Cale did not respond. He stepped onto the platform, feeling the gentle support beneath his feet. The ship's interior was fully open now, its walls glowing softly, panels adjusting automatically to his presence. He could see the complexity of its systems, the harmony of design, and the intelligence woven into every part of the vessel. The alien team advanced, but the ship responded immediately. It shifted slightly, creating a subtle barrier between Kyle and the others. The platform pulsed beneath him, stable and secure, while the hull shimmered, almost alive, as if assessing threats and intentions simultaneously. Tharun and Creel's hands reached forward, but the ship moved away gently, preventing any contact. "This is impossible," Creel growled. "No machine should act this way. It should obey us." "It does not obey the unworthy," Kale said, his voice calm but firm. "It responds to intent, to honesty, and to understanding. You cannot take it by force." The vessel pulsed warmly beneath him. "Patience, Kyle. Guidance is given to those who act with integrity. Others will learn through observation or fail entirely." Tharun's expression darkened. "You flaunt your understanding. You will pay for this arrogance." Kale looked at him steadily. "Arrogance is taking what is not given. Understanding is earning what is offered." The alien team hesitated, confused and frustrated. Their species had always relied on strength and intimidation. This was new, unpredictable, and deeply uncomfortable. They had never encountered a vessel that acted with judgment rather than obedience. Kale moved further into the interior, guided by subtle cues from the ship. The walls pulsed gently as if alive, and the panels displayed simulations of the galaxy, of energy flows, and of complex interactions beyond his understanding. He realized that humans built vessels to teach, to explore, and to understand, not merely to dominate. "You are learning," the ship said softly. "You demonstrate the qualities required for progress. Others are unprepared." Kale nodded. "I see now. Strength alone is not enough. Understanding is greater. Patience and honesty can accomplish what aggression cannot." The alien team, growing increasingly agitated, tried one final approach. They activated their energy clamps, attempting to force their way onto the platform. The ship responded immediately. It shifted smoothly and gracefully, keeping them at bay while keeping Kale safe. The panels along the walls pulsed brighter, projecting energy fields that prevented intrusion but caused no harm. "This vessel is alive!" Creel shouted in frustration. "It moves, it defends itself, but it is not organic. How is this possible?" Kale stepped forward confidently. "It is alive, yes, but not in the way you think. It judges intent, measures honesty, and allows access only to those who respect it. You cannot take what is not earned." The ship's voice resonated gently, almost as if speaking to all present. "Observation is required. Patience and integrity are rewarded. Aggression is rejected. Only those who understand may proceed." Tharun's crystalline form shimmered angrily. "Then we leave," he said finally. "Kale, you may continue your foolishness, but remember, the galaxy does not wait for understanding. Only the strong survive." Kale shook his head. "Strength alone does not make survival possible. Understanding, cooperation, and innovation do. This ship proves it." With a final pulse of light, the platform extended fully, allowing Kale to explore the ship further. He moved deeper into the interior, observing the advanced systems, the flowing energy networks, and the subtle intelligence woven into every surface. Every detail spoke of human ingenuity, of creativity and thoughtfulness, of a species that had learned to combine morality with skill. The alien team watched, powerless and frustrated. They could not board the vessel, could not touch it, and could not understand it. Only Kyle, who approached with respect and curiosity, could move freely. Inside the ship, Kyle reached a central chamber, where a large holographic display of the galaxy rotated slowly. He could see systems, energy flows, and patterns of movement across countless star systems. The ship's voice spoke softly. "This is a glimpse of understanding, observation, analysis, and careful action allow progress. Aggression and force cannot achieve this. Kyle felt a thrill of discovery. He had never imagined a machine could teach in this way, could act with judgment, and could guide him toward understanding. He realized that humans built more than machines. They built pathways for knowledge, guardians of intelligence, and instruments of discovery. "You are ready for further insight," the ship said, "but remember, your species may not comprehend all that you learn. Lead wisely." Kyle nodded. "I understand. I will learn carefully, and I will share what I can." Back on the station, the alien team reluctantly retreated. Tharun's facets pulsed with irritation, while Creel's movements were sharp and uneasy. "This is unacceptable," Tharun muttered. "A single alien can approach freely while the rest of us are blocked. It defies logic." Kyle did not respond. He was focused on the ship, exploring its systems, learning its methods, and absorbing its lessons. He realized that true power was not taken. It was earned. True understanding was not forced. It was discovered through patience, observation, and integrity. Over the following days, Kale moved deeper into the vessel. The ship revealed simulations of advanced star systems, methods of energy manipulation, and techniques humans use to navigate the galaxy. It taught him not through words alone, but through interaction, demonstration, and subtle guidance. Every panel, every interface, every pulsing light was a lesson in ingenuity and ethics. He returned to the docking bay occasionally, observing his species from within the vessel. He saw their frustration grow, their impatience spike, and their reliance on aggression increase. They could not comprehend the subtleties the ship offered. Only Kyle, who had learned patience and respect, could interact safely and meaningfully. Finally, the human ship's voice spoke to all present. "Observation complete. Those willing to learn may follow. Those who insist on force will be denied. This is the path to understanding." Kyle turned to the alien team. "If you wish to learn, you must approach differently. You cannot take what is not given. You must act with honesty, curiosity, and patience." Tharun hesitated, then glared. "We will not follow your methods. We will take what we desire." The ship shimmered, creating a protective barrier. "Then you will not proceed," it said firmly. "Only those who respect the process may enter. Aggression is rejected. Understanding is rewarded." Kyle smiled, realizing the culmination of everything he had learned. The vessel had acknowledged him, guided him, and protected him. It had rejected force and rewarded honesty, curiosity, and patience. He had bridged the gap between his people and humans, not through domination, but through understanding. The alien team retreated in frustration, unable to comprehend the principles the ship embodied. Kale remained inside, exploring further, learning more, and connecting with a vessel that was alive in ways his people could not yet understand. He realized that this encounter was not just about a starship, it was about the potential of species, the power of understanding, and the subtle strength humans brought to the galaxy. As the station faded behind him and the stars stretched endlessly ahead, Kyle felt a profound sense of purpose. The ship pulsed gently, a living guide, a teacher, and a protector. He had learned the lessons humans had built into their vessels. Patience, respect, creativity, and integrity were far more powerful than force. And as the human starship prepared to depart for distant systems, Kale knew that the galaxy had changed in a small but significant way. One alien had understood the true power of humans, not their weapons, not their armies, but their ingenuity, their morality, and their capacity to teach even those who came with aggression in their hearts. The stars ahead were vast and unknown, but Kale felt ready. Guided by the vessel, he would explore, learn, and carry the lessons of humanity into the wider galaxy. and for the first time, he understood that greatness was not measured by conquest or dominance. It was measured by the courage to act with integrity, the patience to learn, and the curiosity to explore the unknown. The human ship waited, alive, patient, and wise, carrying Kale and his newfound understanding into the uncharted reaches of space. The alien team left behind would not forget the lesson they had been denied, and Kale knew that one day, perhaps, they too might approach differently. For now, though, the vessel moved forward, guided by the principles that humans had embedded within it: understanding over aggression, patience over haste, and knowledge over power. Kale smiled as the stars stretched endlessly before him, a symbol of what could be achieved when strength was guided by wisdom and curiosity was rewarded with understanding.